Okay, it's me, Mr. Brad, the plant guy again. I just wanted to show a few of my roses. I was out here this morning and I noticed some of them were blooming really pretty. This here, this is the one that really caught my attention. This is called Climbing Peace. Beautiful rose. It you see, judging by my hand, how big these blooms can get. It's about 5 or 6 inches. This is a sport of the original peace rose. In other words, it's just a mutation where somebody had a bush rose of this and put out a limb that was a climber, which is basically exactly the same except that it climbs. Of course, these limbs should be trellised, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. This is absolutely a gorgeous rose. And it goes even up into this tree. This is actually a October Glory red maple that I have it in. And it's wanting to climb into it, so I just let it go. But yeah, it's a beautiful rose. This one over here, this one is called Ketchup and Mustard. See here? Ketchup, mustard. It's a pretty rose. This is a little hybrid tea. Over here, I have one called Variegata. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, it's Variegata di Bologna. This one is another mutation from Victor Emanuel back in the 1800s that mutated to this striped rose, where it was originally a solid red rose. But this one is an antique Borbon rose that just blooms in the spring. You see how the more fully open bloom. It's a beautiful rose. But this one just blooms in the spring. It's fairly prone to black spot. I have a spray by Bayer that I put on it once every other week, or try to, throughout the growing season. It's Bayer disease control. It's tebuconazole. It's the active ingredient. This is Lady Emma Hamilton. This is an English rose. It's a pretty rose. This is one that's not quite as open, but still beautiful. This is a cutting that I took. Part of my Variegata di Bologna rose has reverted back to Victor Emanuel, and as you can see, this one still has some stripes in it a little bit, but the solid rose was originally all this color. And so I have it sitting in a flower pot. Hopefully this one will be blooming soon. Oh, here we go. This one is Souvenir de la Malmaison. This one is originated from Empress Josephine's garden at Malmaison, France. This is, of course, another antique rose. I don't remember exactly what type. I think this may actually be a Borbon rose as well. A lot of your Borbon roses will bloom all summer, and that is one of them. Variegata di Bologna is one that does not bloom all summer. This one's called Broadway, which is not blooming now. This is Climbing America. It's not blooming. Yabadabadoo is not blooming. This one, believe it or not, is blooming. Can you see the flowers? See them right here? This is probably the most unusual rose I have ever seen in my life. This is an antique China rose, which originated from the 1800s. Its exact origin is fairly unknown. Some people think it may be a sport of old blush. Some people think it could be bred like this. But what you're looking at, these are not petals. These are what's known as sepals, which is actually the green coverings that are over the rose before it opens. Instead of any petals, it has sepals. In fact, the reproductive organs, the anthers and the pistils and the petals are all replaced by a wad of sepals. So it looks like a little head of lettuce. This is a very neat rose. These things grow in clusters. And of course this one is also a little, most of my roses I grow are at least fairly prone to black spot, but I put the tebuconazole on it and every other week, and they do fairly well. This is a neat little rose. I like it. I mean, it's awesome. It's not the prettiest rose in the world, but it makes for a good conversation piece to show people. Now this one is called Dr. Huey. A lot of people may have this rose. If you've had a rose bush and the bush sort of died back a little bit, then it may have put out this rose right here as a climber. People say, oh, I put it out one variety and it died and it came back something else. Why is that? This is often, I talked about grafting in one of my videos. This is what a very common rootstock for roses. So if it's grafted and it dies down to the ground, then what you may have had left was just the roots. The cyan is the top part that blooms, and the roots, of course, is the rootstock. Well, if all that's left is the rootstock and it's still alive, then it will put out this and will bloom this instead. Like I said, that was Dr. Huey. And of course, this is a little graft that I did. I don't remember what variety it was. I'll see when it blooms. I'm going to take this electrician's tape off soon. I try to take it off the following spring. But this is one that I did last year. This is Teasing Georgia. This is another English rose. It's beautiful. I actually have it as one of the parents to some of my hybrids. And this is a gorgeous rose. I love this thing. This is about 3 inches wide or so, 4 inches. But this is a big shrub rose. And this one, of course, it's not blooming now. Hopefully it'll be blooming soon. This one is called Madame Hardy. It's a Damask rose. It's an antique rose. This blooms just in the spring. The leaves are kind of soft and they smell sort of like pine. But this just blooms in the spring. It's a beautiful rose. This big one here is a Shropshire Lad, another English rose. It's beautiful. I really wish this one was blooming right now, but it's starting to kind of open up, as you can see. Big old pretty light pink peach color rose. But that's pretty much all that I have to show right now for my roses. But yeah, there's the knockout rose, you can see. I got in a flower pot there. And these are some rooted cuttings I've got of Variegata di Bologna that I showed earlier. That's a beautiful rose. Helpmefind.com. If you're wanting any plants to these, that's a great resource to find roses. Where I found most of my odd roses that a lot of them anyway, that I've ordered are from helpmefind.com. It's a great resource. But anyway, I guess that's it.